Welcome to the comfort of my car. There are so many people in the house today that I had no choice but to pick up all my stuff and get in the car to film. So I appreciate that this is not my usual setup. I hope you don't mind. I just wanted to sit somewhere comfortable and quiet. And at the end of the video, I have a little personal announcement, so make sure you stick around for that. So in January, my channel hit 50k subscribers, and I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who has supported me this far. What's important to me is that what 50,000 subscribers actually allows me to do, and that is simply to continue to make content. Every time that you watch my content and like and comment, you help me to reach my real goal, which is actually doing this full time. And on that note, I am taking a huge leap of faith in March, and I am officially going full time here on YouTube. I'm not exactly financially ready, but I personally know that when I'm under a little bit of pressure, I make things happen and I make things work. So hopefully if things are all organized from April, you will be seeing 2 videos on my channel per week. I'm going to see how I go producing that. I don't want to lose the quality in my videos, so we'll just see how I go. And like I said earlier, a huge thank you to each and every one of you for having my back. Some of you I know have been here since day one, and it means so much to me. I am so incredibly grateful for this opportunity. Oh, I think my hair was on the microphone. To me, there is nothing more rewarding than working really hard and helping people at the same time. So thank you for helping me live a really intentional life that has such great meaning. So a week or so ago, I asked you guys to send in your questions to get to know me a little bit more for my Q&A video, because I think it's important that you guys kind of know me and the person I am, so you can really understand the background of the content that I make and why I make it. And thank you to everyone who sent in questions to actually make this video possible. So question number 1 is, how old are you? So I am 29 and a half. Yes, I still count in halves. My 30th birthday is in June, and I'm hoping this year for my 30th birthday that I can raise money for a charity instead of getting presents, because I just feel like there's nothing really that I need. And I mean, I'm sure there's things that I want, but I don't need anything, and what I want more is to help people. So I think that this year for my 30th birthday, I'm going to donate my birthday. So keep an eye out for that. Question number 2 is, why did you decide to move to Rye? So my partner and I moved to Rye, which is on the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria, which is about an hour and a half out of the city of Melbourne. We moved here 3 or 4 months ago during our second lockdown, which moving during a lockdown was really weird. The reason we decided to move down here was because my partner, he sadly lost his job back in June of 2020 during the first lockdown. Like many others, he was made redundant. We were living in an apartment closer to the city then, and I was working 3 jobs, and then I was doing YouTube on top of that. And we just knew that it wasn't really sustainable to stay where we were, that we were just going to end up eating through our savings. And my parents have this beautiful holiday house down in the Mornington Peninsula, which, although it is further away from all our friends and family and stuff, it's a house that is free for us to live in. And my parents offered it up to us, and we just took it and said, of course, we would love to move down there. So that's why we moved down to Rye. It was kind of by choice, but kind of not. It was just the best experience. If anyone's ever been to Rye before, it is a beautiful, calm beachside town. I mean, it's really busy in summertime, but we moved down during lockdown, and it was just so peaceful and gorgeous. And it was just what the doctor ordered, because we'd had a hard year, just like so many others. We'd had a lot going on in 2020 and the previous years before that. So to move down to somewhere like this, where there's just so much more space and greenery and less people and birds singing all the time, it is just so calming, and just really did good for our mental health as well. So question number 3 is, what does your fiance do for a job? That's a good question. Well, like I just said, he was unemployed. He got made redundant last year, and he ended up being unemployed for 6 months, which towards the end of it got quite stressful, and not just stressful, but just upsetting for him to get so close to so many jobs and then just rejected and rejected and rejected and rejected. So he did finally get a new job, which is amazing, and that is in digital advertising. From what I believe, he looks after digital campaigns for clients. I don't know the nitty-gritty of it, but it's a good gig. It's better than his last gig, which is awesome. So yes, I will endeavour to learn more about his job if I can. Question number 4 is, how do you budget? Ooh, I think this is a loaded question and I could spend a lot of time on it. In terms of budgeting, I don't really strictly budget. I don't follow things and write things down and budget. My income has always been very erratic. Like my whole life, I've always been mostly self-employed. So some months I can be making a great deal. Other months I can be making absolutely nothing. So to actually budget when you don't know how much you're making is so difficult. So I've never been a budgeter. I used to be a spender and I was not careful with my money at all. But over time, more recently, I learnt how to just be a lot more careful with my money and know what money I had. So I think my biggest tip for budgeting would be, I have several bank accounts. I don't know if this is a good thing. My partner and I have this one bank account which has all our house savings in it. It has a really high interest rate. If we don't touch it, it's great. So we keep all of that money in there and we get some good interest on that. That is a no spending. We don't have a card attached to it. We really can't access that money. If we take money out of it, we won't get that high interest rate. So we just leave it. So that's set up really nicely. And then I have another bank account which has no fees and I just pay all my bills out of that. So my phone bill comes out of that. My rent comes out of that when we have a house, and I pay gas bills and water bills and stuff out of that account. And then I'm with another bank, so a third bank, and I have this is where my spending account is, and my business account, and a few more savings accounts. So I know that sounds like really crazy, but what this bank account allows me to do is to nickname my bank accounts. And I don't know, like I'm quite a visual person, so as soon as I've seen my bank accounts say what they are, they're not just like Commonwealth spending or Commonwealth saving. They are holiday savings, MacBook savings, emergency fund. So I've nicknamed all these bank accounts and I know what my money is for in these bank accounts. It's just kind of life-changing. Now, one of them is called holiday savings. So each week I think I have about a $30 direct debit that goes into that account that it's just set up, and I don't really notice it going out of my other account, and it just pops into my holiday savings. Because I don't notice it, it just builds and builds and builds and builds. And all of a sudden, I've got like $400 to spend on a weekend away. This is just such an easy way of saving for things without noticing big chunks of your money disappearing. So I have an emergency fund that has about $4,000 in it, and it has that money in it all the time. And that is, I don't touch that money. That's my emergency fund money. So if I have an accident, medical, something, whatever, that is my emergency fund. That money is there to help in those situations. So they're probably my budgeting tips. I make sure everything's paid for, and I don't have credit cards because I don't have kids. I think it's different once you have kids. Often credit cards can be really helpful, but there's no need for credit cards in my life at the moment. And yeah, that's probably all I should say on that topic. I might tie up my hair because it's really hot. Okay, I don't really know what I look like, but... Crack a window. Do you know what? It would help if I could see. Okay, question number 5. I would like to know if you were a model. So yes, I was a model. I speak in past tense because I only very recently finished up modeling. I started as a model when I was 17 years old and I was still in high school. I was signed with Vivian's Model Management in Melbourne when I was 17 up until only recently when I decided to leave. I moved to London when I was around 19, 20, and I was a model there full-time for 6 years. It was honestly an incredible experience. I learned a hell of a lot modeling all over the world. It was a very scary industry to be a part of at such a young age and so far away from my family for support, but I had a really good group of girlfriends over in London who were also models and really helped me through that time. Modeling is if you're not a supermodel, it's a really hard gig. You can go a whole month without working. It's a bit like acting and stuff, like you're just waiting for your next paid gig and you're trying so hard. And then you can work every day for a week and you're like, oh, this is amazing. But it's just so up and down. And I did it for years because I loved it and it was good enough for me to live. But I didn't know myself truly then, and I didn't know how badly it was affecting my mental health, just not knowing when my next paid job was going to be, or not knowing if I was going to be able to pay rent the next month, just constantly getting rejected for things. I must admit, it was a tough gig. I look back on modelling full-time in London for 6 years and I don't regret it at all, because I don't really live with regrets. I think everything we do it for a reason. We learn from it. We become better people. But yes, it was a fun but really, really hard job at the same time. I recently left my modelling agent and decided to kind of wrap things up because a few reasons. I wasn't really feeling 100% like my heart was in it anymore. As I began to learn more about the fashion industry and the industry that I was working in and how kind of bad it was and how it really affected the world, I didn't feel as good accepting jobs from clients that contributed to unethical and environmentally damaging manufacturing. So I just was rejecting a few jobs from my agent that were coming through that were paid really well but didn't align with my values. And, you know, my agent just sat me down and said, like, is this what you want to be doing anymore? Really? Is it? And I was like, well, you know what, like maybe I just have to let it go. So that is what happened, and we kind of came to a mutual agreement that I would finish up. With that being said though, if there was a brand, an ethical, sustainable brand that was to reach out to me and want me for a modeling job, I would take it in a heartbeat, because they're the kind of brands that I would happily model for. So if you know any that you think I might be good for, girls got to put food on the table. But yeah, that's the only modeling I will do from now on. It just doesn't sit well with me to model for anyone who isn't trying to make a difference. Oh God, I've just realised that my microphone had turned off. I don't know how long that's been off for. I apologise for the audio quality earlier. We're back on board. Okay, question number 6 is, what do you eat to maintain your slimness? I'm really glad someone asked me this, because I get asked this quite a lot, and I would love to address this topic of my weight and my body and that topic in general. I could speak a long time, but I will try to keep this really brief. My body is the way it is because of genetics and my metabolism. I have been tall and thin my entire life, and my parents have been exactly the same. I don't personally have to worry about weight, and I never have. I don't want to say that to upset anyone, but I want to be truly honest and transparent with you guys, because I think it's a really important topic to talk about. Everyone needs to understand that bodies are just made completely differently. I don't want anyone to look at me and try to be like, I have to starve myself, I have to put loads of pressure on myself to make myself look like that, because the thing is, each body is made differently. Your bones are shaped differently, your metabolism is completely different, your hips are wider, your stomach is slimmer, like your shoulders are wider, you're a pear shape, an inverted triangle. We're all different, and to aspire to be like someone who is just a completely different shape to you and that is just unrealistic is so dangerous. And I don't want people to think that I got myself this way by starving myself or training really hard or putting a lot of pressure on myself. It's just the way I am, and that's that. And then the next question kind of ties into this as well, and that is, how tall are you and what do you weigh? So I am 5'9", which I think is like 170 something centimeters. I don't know. Someone let me know how much that is, or I'll put a little stamp here of how much that is in centimeters. But yeah, I'm 5'9", and I weigh at the moment around 54. I go kind of between 53, 54, 55, and that's kind of where I fluctuate. That's all. And that's how I've been since I was super young, and this tall. I was 18 and I was probably the same weight. That's just how much I weigh. And just for the record, I eat so much food. I don't want to be here and like be trying to defend myself, but I do get comments sometimes kind of just like telling me to look after myself. My whole life I've dealt with skinny shaming and stuff, and it is what it is. I get why people do it, but also like it's just not right. So I'm just defend myself a little bit. I eat so much food, it's insane. So trust me, I look after myself. I probably just don't exercise as much as I should, but we're working on that this year in 2021. It's a goal. All right, I think we're up to 8. Your most meaningful thing and the story behind it. So I thought about this for a while and I was like, well, there's one thing that is the most meaningful thing to me, and it's probably very obvious, but it would have to be my engagement ring. There is nothing more meaningful than this ring on my finger and the history of my partner and I. There is nothing more meaningful than that. The story behind it. So Alex and I, my fiance, that is just weird to say. I'm still not used to that. We have been together for 5 years. We met in the UK at a music festival at about 1 a.m. We were just raving and that's where we met. I was like, ooh, who's that tall boy in the crowd? I like him. He looks pretty. And then, yeah, we just kind of made our way over to each other and waved hello, and then proceeded to go to the bar together and get a drink of water. And the rest is history. We'd always spoken about getting married and having kids, and our timeline was actually to have kids before we got married, because I'm coming up to being 30 now and Alex always wanted to be a young dad. He's 29. He's like a year younger than me. Or 20. Oh shit, how old is he? He's just a year younger than me. And so we always said, oh, we'll have kids before we get married. So that was something that we wanted to kind of start this year, is to try have a family. So I just wasn't expecting this yet. He caught me by surprise on Christmas Eve morning, took me out to the garden early in the morning, and it was a beautiful morning. The sun was shining, the sky was blue. It was just a stunning morning. And he took me out to the garden and he said, I have a present for you, an early Christmas present, and in your vegetable patch. And he knows how much I love my vegetable patch. Like, I've spent so much time out there this summer. It's a very special place to me and it brought me a lot of great calmness through lockdown. So we went out there and there was a ring box. Some beautiful things were said in regards to how tough the past few years have been for us and how much pressure has been put on our relationship due to just a lot of family troubles and, you know, everyday just life troubles. And despite all of that, we have come out stronger and better. And I turned around and he was on one knee behind me in the garden and he asked me to marry him. So that is definitely my most meaningful possession and thing that I have, and that is the story behind it. I'm filming.
I was going to go to the butcher and pick up some meat for B and Riley.
Okay. Maybe I'll just move inside for the rest of it. We're back inside. I apologise, Alex needed the car. Question number 9 is, how far have you been able to progress with your wedding plans? This is a great question, and the answer is 0 progress. We are not going ahead with starting any wedding plans. That is because my partner Alex, my fiance, is from London and all of his family and friends are over in London and Ireland and Italy, and during the current world circumstances, we just do not want to plan anything without knowing that people are definitely going to be able to be here. So we always spoke about having a long engagement anyway, so we're just going to have a really long engagement. Like I said earlier, with our personal life plans, we're going to probably have a family and have kids before we get married. I mean, things could always change. If international travel changes soon, we might want to just say, whatever, we'll get married then. But we're probably just going to have a long engagement and focus on starting our family first instead. Question number 10 is, who are your fashion icons and how has your style evolved over time? So I recently did a video on all of my style icons, so I will link it up here somewhere and you can go watch that to find out who my style icons are. In terms of how my style has evolved over the years, why does my hair look like that? Sorry, just fixing my hair again. Okay, so in terms of how my style has evolved over the years, it has evolved, that is for sure. I grew up in the 90s. I mean, I love a bit of 90s fashion now, but a lot of the 90s fashion was awkward and weird. There are so many birds here. This video is going to be so weird. I'm so sorry. Stop it! Now there's a dog. I think I could probably make an entire video about how my style has evolved over time, and I think I might. So keep an eye out for that. I will go dive deep into the archives of photos and see what I can find. Question number 11 is, what job would you like to do that is your passion other than YouTube? I really don't know about this question. It's a hard one. I've always struggled with the word passion. I wasn't that person in high school that was like, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a vet, I want to do this. I was like, I have no idea. I studied nursing when I first left school, and I chose nursing because I knew I wanted to do a job where I would feel like I was helping people. I just wanted something that was going to be rewarding in that way. Then I studied nursing, and my God, if there's any nurses out there, huge kiss to you. You are amazing. It wasn't for me. I almost finished, but I didn't finish. I had another year and a bit to go, and I just couldn't do it. I knew in my heart that I could never actually be a nurse. I'd already put myself in 2 years of debt for school. I wasn't going to give myself any more debt for a job that I knew I just could not do. So I hung up my hat for nursing. I think after spending so much time here on YouTube and working for myself, I think anything in the creative space I would love. So being creative, I'm really hands-on. I love making things. I love designing things. I love putting things together, and I've always loved doing that my whole life. So something creative. I always thought maybe like to do repurposing of things. So you know when you see hard rubbish on the side of the road and someone's thrown it out and it's a chest of drawers and it looks pretty gross, I look at that and go, I see potential. That looks beautiful. I want to take that home. I want to do it up, remake it, bring it back to life, and then sell it. So like repurposing and upcycling things. If I could create my own little upcycling business, that's probably what I would like to do if I wasn't here on YouTube, something like that. Yeah, I just think that would be really fun and rewarding. Question 12 is, what is the most amazing place you've ever traveled to? My favorite city in the world that I've ever been to is Dubrovnik, the old town in Dubrovnik. I felt something there. It's just really, really beautiful. Croatia is beautiful. People were lovely. The old town there was just stunning. So I really, really loved Dubrovnik. Another place I really liked was Lanzarote, which I think is part of the Canary Islands, but it's kind of just off the west coast of Africa. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but that island was beautiful. It was just like a rocky island in the middle of nowhere, but I really, really loved it there. Oh, there are still so many places I just really want to travel to. I was really lucky to travel to lots of places when I lived in London and kind of to America and to Europe, but gosh, that is just a question that makes me so hopeful and so excited for the future of international travel. And yeah, I might have to make a little list of places I want to go. Okay, just a few more questions to go. Question number 13 is there a book or multiple books that have had a major impact on your life? So I personally am a big lover of non-fiction, like self-help type books. I just love reading a book and learning from another person to become a better version of myself. Personal development is a really interesting topic and something that I love working on every single day. I've read a lot of personal development books, and probably the two that really stand out for me the most are Robin Sharma, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and Everything is Figureoutable by Marie Forleo. Very different books. This is a very, very different book to most. It's actually told in like a story format, but to kind of teach you about finding happiness and fulfillment in life from a monk who basically sells his Ferrari and goes to find happiness. It's so digestible. You can probably, if you're a reader, you could sit down and read this in a day. I think I read it in a couple of days, and then I just gifted it to like everyone I know. It's a story and it makes you happy and it gives you, I don't know, it's just an incredible book. Nothing less than sensational. This book will bless your life. And then the other one, Everything Figureoutable by Marie Forleo. She is an absolute inspiration. If you don't know who Marie Forleo is, just go look up some of her videos on YouTube. She's so motivating and captivating, and whenever I'm feeling in a bit of a slump or like I can't get myself motivated or I don't feel like doing anything, I just listen to some of her videos. So So Marie is like essentially like a life coach and a business coach, and everything figure outable is just like the name suggests. She just shows you that absolutely everything is figure outable. No matter what, you can figure it out. So when you think that like you might not be able to do something, you wipe that mentality out and it is figure outable. You just have to figure out how to do it. You can do it. Everything is figure outable. And it just explains it in such an incredible way. And I just highly recommend this book. It'd be so good for people who are lacking belief in themselves to do things. This will help motivate you and show you that you can do it. Incredible book. Okay, question number 14 is, and I love this question, what goes through your mind when you're deciding on a purchase? What ultimately leads to a yes purchase versus a no not purchasing? This is such a great question, and I probably could make an entire video on this question as well. In terms of clothing and fashion, I'll share two main things that help me with a purchase. So recently I tried on this dress and it was beautiful. I loved it so much. I saw it in pictures and I was like, I love that dress. I tried it on and it was beautiful, and I could wear it to work, which is great. So I could wear it for my retail job. One of the things that I do when I'm purchasing things now is look at the inside tag, and I look to see what the dress was made out of, and it was something like 30% cotton, 70% polyester. And I was like, gutted, just gutted. Polyester, why? But ultimately, as soon as I saw that, it was a hard no from me. It was simple answer, no. There is no way in the world that I am supporting polyester in clothing anymore. That is the easiest way to say no when purchasing clothing at the moment. When saying yes to clothing, I'm saying yes to all the natural fibers, linen, cotton, hopefully organic cotton. So definitely the fabrics of something is what helps me ultimately to lead to like a yes or a no. Another really important thing that leads to a yes or a no is when I'm looking at something to buy and I'm like, oh, because we can see things that we're like, oh, that's gorgeous, I love that, I could definitely wear that top, or I could definitely wear that dress, it looks great on us, and we buy it and that's all good, and then we take it home and all of a sudden it just sits in your wardrobe and you don't know what to wear it with. Those are the purchases that I don't make anymore, because when I'm purchasing things, I ask myself then and there before purchasing, what am I going to wear this with? And I'm not just going to wear this with one thing in my wardrobe. I have to picture what I'm going to wear it with multiple times in my wardrobe. And if I sit there and I think, oh, this top is gorgeous, it's stunning, but there really isn't anything in my wardrobe at the moment that would go with that, then that is a no. Easy peasy no. Not going to be buying something that I cannot incorporate into my current wardrobe. So those are two things that ultimately lead to a yes or a no purchase for me. I would definitely love to sit down and write down all the kind of things that go through my mind when making a purchase, and maybe pop that into a video soon. So I've got one more question before I give you my announcement. The last question is, have you struggled with anxiety and how have you managed it? Also, how do you manage your house, garden, husband, pets, job, YouTube job, diet, and keep that beautiful smile and calm vibe? Firstly, thank you. That's a really beautiful question / comment. Lots to unpack here, but I will try to keep it brief. Yes, I have struggled with anxiety, and I still do to this day. I manage it in different ways. Like I said earlier, self-development, self-help books, they help you in many different ways. Like for instance, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. This book really helped me realize that I can find happiness in things that aren't necessarily my possessions. And when you're not chasing something and you're not chasing happiness in objects and you're just enjoying the present moment and everyday life, that helps your anxiety in a huge, huge way. So that book really did help me to kind of focus in on the present moment and being right here and now, and not worrying about the future and things that we can't control, or regretting things from the past about things that we can't control and can't change, and just sit and enjoy right now, because right now you can control, and right now you do have a choice of how you act and how you present yourself. So there is just no point in worrying about the future or the past, because you have no control over that. Just think about now. That kind of mentality has helped me a lot with my anxiety. And it's definitely easier said than done, but it's something that you have to constantly work on. You can't just expect it to be like that, and it never will. I know in myself, my anxiety will never fully go away. I have my bad days where I feel like someone's sitting on my chest and I can't breathe, and I just have to take deep breaths. I really focus on my breathing. There's so many studies about breathing and anxiety, so just huge deep breaths in and out for ages really helps to calm me down and manage my anxiety. But yeah, I know in my heart that it will never be gone, and that's kind of comforting, because when it does come back up, I'm not so shocked by my anxiety coming back up. So just accepting that it's part of you and finding little ways that you can change your daily activities to help you is what's going to, I think, be the most sustainable way of managing your anxiety for the rest of your life. And then the other part of the question, how do you manage all of it? Your house, your garden, husbands, pets, jobs, YouTube, diet, and remain calm with a smile? I have a lot going on. I always have. There's so much more to me than you guys know. And personally, my life has been just incredibly hard over the past 3 to 4 years. I think when we're pushed to our limits and what we think might be rock bottom, we realize how strong we are because we have to be. I know in myself that if I dwell on all the negative stuff that's going on, that is absolutely no help to me whatsoever. That is just going to make my life so much freaking worse than it already is. So why choose to dwell on the shit? Why not choose to be positive and not be the victim to life, and to not dwell on life happening to you? It's happening for you. The hard stuff that we all go through makes us better people if you choose to learn from it. So I choose to be positive and happy regardless of all the crap happening. And I know that's easier said than done, but the huge shifting point for me was realizing that I have a choice. I was told by someone really close to me that I have a choice of how I react to everything happening in life. And I think that has given me so much support in how I manage everything. That's how I manage it all mentally. In terms of how I actually manage it, I'm organized. And oh my gosh, I was never an organized person growing up. No way. I was the least organized person. I would always call myself a really disorganized person. And you know what? Labeling myself as that was just a limiting belief. Like, it was just making me unorganized. One day I decided, screw it, I can learn to be organized. Watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos and I learned to become an organized person. Now, there's still, a mess in that corner of my house, and there's still some things that aren't very organized over there, but mostly things are organized. I have a plan of my YouTube videos coming out over the next 2 months because we're going to be moving house soon. So I need to plan that in advance. I need to be organized. I chose today, a public holiday, to sit here and film this video because I know it's the only day that I can do it this week because I'm really busy. So I chose to do it today and be organized and get it done today. I don't watch as much TV as other people because I don't need to. I watch one season of something with my partner every now and then, but I prefer to be working on things that propel me forward in life because I know how rewarding it is working really hard and helping people. I also think some part of that is, like, I don't have kids yet, but once we do have a family, things are going to get even more complicated, but I know that I will ask for help when I need it. I ask Alex, my partner, for help when I need it with something. When I'm feeling really overwhelmed with a lot going on at a certain time, I'll be like, Alex, I've got these 3 things that I really need you to get done, if it's okay, and then I'll sort out the rest of it. And he just helps me with things, and we work together, and that's what a relationship is meant to be. That's what a partnership is meant to be. So I definitely ask for help when I need it. I think that is a really important thing when you are managing so much on one plate. It's just not realistic. And yeah, I make small sacrifices, not a lot, but I don't go to all of the social events. I'll choose just a couple of them. And for me, that does come a bit more naturally because I'm an introvert, so I am recharged when I'm at home. But yeah, that is generally how I manage all of the things that I do and remain positive and calm and happy. And I think a big part of it all is like actually living life intentionally. Like, this is what I want to do. These are the things I want to do. Anything that I didn't want to do, I got rid of. I said no to. I just say yes to the things that I want to do. And that's how I live my life intentionally. And I think that makes life so much easier and more enjoyable and easier to manage overall. So that is the end of the questions, and now for my little announcement. In about a month's time, we're going to be moving out of this house and we're going to be moving interstate to Sydney. Woo! The reason we're moving to Sydney is because of Alex's new job. The new job that he got is located there. We have just been putting off the move because of COVID restrictions and a few personal things going on. So yeah, we're moving out at the start of March, and I hope to get a video out of our little road trip up to Sydney with Fanta in the car. And yeah, if anyone has any recommendations of places to eat, beaches to visit, and all that kind of stuff, that would be great. We cannot wait for a fresh start in 2021. I just think it's such a nice time to be doing something like this, starting a new life in a new city with lots of exciting things. So yeah, once we move to Sydney, that is when I go full-time with YouTube. So fingers crossed that everything goes to plan. I just couldn't do any of this without your support, so thank you so much. Sorry if this video was really, really long as well. Bye. I know.
Hey.
I don't know. What else do I say?
What's the plan, Stan? I don't know. I'm going.
Okay, come give me a kiss. Gross. We're making a porno. Okay, bye, have fun.
Bye,
Say hi to
YouTube.
everyone.
Bye, YouTube.
Don't forget the sausages. Can you please be quiet? Oh, come on. Shush.